Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Conversations with Rico. Y'all can just bear with me. I am bringing my guest onto the show. Young man, I think you're really going to enjoy uh, in this conversation. So we're going to get it together here. Yeah, I know the show is supposed to start at 7, so we're doing this what's called a pre-show workup, and we're getting it together, and I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation. The topic is our heterosexual, masculine, intellectual black males really valued in the black community. Well, let's discuss this. And so I am starting a bit early so I can make sure everybody's here, including my guest, especially my guest, this young man that I saw on Facebook. And I just had to have him for one of these conversations on this channel, hopefully of many conversations on this channel. A place where black males can come, black men can come and have the conversation about whatever's going on in society. So we want to make sure we thank you, those of you coming on in. If you enjoy the dialogue that is about to take place, I'm right now connecting with the young man who is going to come on and have this conversation with me. Uh, and feel free to do your thing in the chat room as we have this conversation. And, just bear with me. Maybe I'll play some music in the background as we get ready. And let's see if he can get in. Okay. So, hold on a second. So it's cool. Just come on in. You're doing what's called, you're taking out the pre-production part of the show. Getting everybody ready and in place. Let's do this. First person here, what's up? Welcome. We will be starting on time at 7. But anyway, uh, as we're setting up, this is a very intense article that he wrote, and it's been shared. Let's see, at least about 47, 48 times, just across social media. Uh, he was just saying pretty much I'm checking out, and so this is something that's worthy of discussion. That's why I brought him on. I'm bringing him on to talk about it, and hopefully we can get a lot of questions in. And during the conversation I had with him, he's very open to share why he wrote this particular commentary on social media. And we learned some other stuff about this generation of young men, exactly why they feel the way they do, and I can knock this whole thing over. So we hope to meet more young men like this. I hope to meet more young men uh, who are open to sharing how they feel about what's going on today. Because last week we talked to young men about the political landscape and how it impacts, how they feel that it's impacting their lives as African American men or black men. I don't like using that term African American. I like using black men because black men is very specific. Even though people try to remix black, but I'm very direct and very precise on what black is. But a lot of folks, it seems to only happen every election season. People get confused about what black is, to the point that they don't want to even admit that in order to be black, you have to have a black mother and a black father. And it's because it's very easy to figure out who's Caucasian or who's Mexican or who's Asian. They have an Asian mother and an Asian father, white mother and a white father, Mexican mother, Mexican father. Then when it comes down to black folks, um, I don't know, person of color. Um, I don't know, because my great grandfather he was French, and my aunt on my dad's side was German. But you look like Don Cheadle, sir, and ma'am, you look like Whoopi Goldberg. We're not playing. If your mother and father are blacks, look like black folks, and your grandmother, and your grandfather on either side, both sides are black, you are black. So that's why I always say black because politically it is the correct thing to say. And of course, we know people from, I guess, all over can be considered black, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The American black folks. Other folks call themselves black, but culturally they are another. They're something else. This whole Kamala thing. She has no connection to American blacks except locking them up. That's not why we're here. Uh, in a sense, it probably is, but we are not. We are not. She may come up. I may ask him about. We're thinking about this political landscape, but black to me it's no mystery. It is very very precise. I understand it very well. But it seems like every time there's an election coming up and the Democratic Party wants to give black people a black person, it's never really someone who both has two black parents. Here's a mixed person. They're black. It's cool. One drop rule. That kind of foolishness. The one drop rule thing. Yeah, that they like to pull that on us. It's not even a new trick. It's an old trick that we keep falling for. I like to think we know what black is, but they give us a mulatto or Cory Booker or a Halle Berry kind of candidate, and next thing you know, yeah, they're black. They're black. They went to a black college. They eat neck bones. They black. I mean, it's embarrassing every year. The same old thing. Same old thing. Uh, we don't seem to know what black is, and so. But I always know all year round what black is. I know all year round what black is because it doesn't change for me. But other people seem to change when it fits their narrative, their political narrative. They all of a sudden now they seem to be confused about their own race. It's amazing to see. Uh, so try to get to the show, brother. Hold on. See if he's getting it. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me do this again. All right. Hold on, y'all. Go anywhere. I need to check and see if he's in here. We're gonna check and see. Maybe need to text. Nobody I. Okay. All right. Let's see. What's up, Tony? Just waiting on my man here. Welcome in, bro. Thanks for coming. Just waiting on my guest. I don't know if he's in the room yet. Please, Tony. What's up? I'm here. Just checking on things. Let's see. So we're doing it. I'm doing almost okay. Let's see what's going on. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Good. Yep. Let's see. Keep your head moving on. What's up? I'm still here, y'all. Just trying to make sure I get them in. Some of them want to. Having issues. Let's see. Moving on. Some of them. Somebody wants to be moving on. Still working on. In the meantime, still working on getting the brother here. But, however, sometimes you know how these new shows start off, y'all. They just start off kind of rocky. Then when they get started, boom, they start working out. So right now, I will have to talk to y'all until anybody would like to come on to the y'all thing here and answer the question for me, or I like to hear what you have to say. And the question is, heterosexual, masculine, intellectual black males valued in the black community? And I think for this generation of young guys, it's gotten a little tough because feminism has kicked in, and a lot of young guys are not prepared to handle that in a defensive way or in an offensive way. The language has been set, and I think a lot of young brothers have not been educated on how the feminist rhetoric permeates throughout society, and it changes. It has changed pretty much the landscape of how we operate in the society as men and women. In other words, it has kind of really thrown a monkey wrench into our relationship, to the relationship between us in society as a whole, and especially in the black community. And it started back, it crept its way, but even into the 30s, I guess, the 20s and 30s, during the so-called women's suffrage. But while the women's suffrage was going on, African American or black women were somewhere in the fields, working in the fields or taking care of those women's children while they were out fighting for right to vote. And that's when you had Susan B. Anthony and all their the feminist leaders of that day making statements like, "Look, we'd rather roll over and die before the black male gets the right to vote." Uh, and especially when it comes to white men, they were upset with them, so they certainly were not going to allow black males to come out and outshine them as it relates to vote. And I don't even think black women were even mentioned, as even real people. But somehow during the civil rights movement with the Gloria Steinems and all those folks, they were able to seep in there and separate two people who were holding hands as they marched in Selma and Montgomery and Atlanta, all over the country for civil rights, not human rights. You can see the pictures of how husband and wives and boyfriend and girlfriends and just black men and black women are holding hands together and fighting. Then all of a sudden, the white woman got into the sister's ear and said, "You're better than that. I know you're not at home cooking and cleaning while he goes out and does this. And you are every woman, every power empowered, and this, that, and the other." Which is nothing was really totally wrong with that. But the thing is, when you get into the natural order of things, those the heavy lifting is supposed to be by men. But it wasn't just the feminist rhetoric. Then it came in what also seeped into society was the purposeful attack, continuous attack on black male masculinity. See, one thing is to say we want equality and we want to be treated as equals and equal pay and equal recognition under the Constitution and and equal everything in education and equal as relates to rights in general. But then to demand your equality, but you go out and purposely attack the boys and you attack masculinity. See, that's the stuff that these young men didn't know what was coming down the pike. For those of us in Generation X, we were still men. We You didn't allow us to be men. We were men. Today, women are allowing young boys and young guys to be men when it's convenient for them. You push, pull, lift, and drag for me. But I want to make money from not doing as much. I want to earn the same pay as not doing as much push, pull, lifting, and or dragging. And I'm going to shame you for being a man. That is what we have going on today. And a lot of young black dudes are not they are not equipped to handle this rhetoric because they are not encouraged to study what's called gender studies and study the politics of sex and gender today. Guys are still going off the old teachings of a man gonna be a man, and we got to protect the women. We have to make sure they're okay. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me get this done. Hold on, Charlie. Hello. What? So how you doing right now? Okay, we're on. Yeah, but you have, if you come on, you just I think the link was sent to you in your messenger, and see if you can click on that and see if that works. And if not, you should be on YouTube and come into the chat box, and I'll give it to uh, the link in the chat room. Okay, just letting the audience know. Hey, y'all, he's on the phone. We're working this out. Technical difficulties. Okay, there you go. Now I have you. Hold on. And boom. What's up?
What's going on? Okay, now do I need to?
You don't
I'm
have to
gonna.
do anything. I see you.
Okay, I was gonna see if I had to mute
No,
myself or anything like that.
no,
Okay.
you're in, man. I think I need to put my probably put my earpiece in. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And so cool. And I was just chatting it up with those couple folks in here, and I'll probably go back and remix it up to probably edit it and fix it. Okay, y'all. My guest has arrived, Mr. Dominic. I don't know why. Maybe I need to turn that fan off. My stuff starts running when it gets cool, and the stuff just started linking. But anyway, welcome, young brother. I was just talking. I was giving the history of feminism and how it has permeated the community. And I was just saying how I don't think a lot of young brothers in generation, what are y'all? Y'all are Gen, what is this, millennials?
We're the millennials.
Yeah. And so and I think I'm part of Gen X. And I was saying that a lot of us, we were, we were I didn't say we were allowed to be men. We were still men because we didn't understand that non-men behavior. But it was
Right.
there. It wasn't the land of the law of the land. But your generation has come up under this heavy-handedness of I'm going to shame you for exemplifying manhood qualities or masculinity, or how dare you push, pull, lift, and drag and think you're better than me.
Exactly.
Y'all up under that, and so that's what I was pretty much just kind of vibing with them about. But I want to get to why you're here. I have my list here, and again, I want to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. And I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with your name, your age, uh, married, children, occupation, education, all that cool stuff. Let us know who you are, and I'll get into the article after that.
Okay, sure. So first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to have this opportunity to speak to your fan base, to like-minded people and people who are just interested in getting more information and in-depth view of the Black male experience in America. So my name is Dominic McDonald. I go by the pseudonym Nerd. I am a poet, published author. I currently have a poetry book out now called The Love Song of D. Nerd McDonald, which talks about my experiences with love and relationships from my teen years to about college. I'm from, I say Los Angeles, but I've lived in several different cities in LA, South Central area, Inglewood, Venice, so on and so forth. And I got my degree in English with a focus in creative writing at California State University, Long Beach, in Long Beach, California. Currently working in higher education. I won't say the institution because I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool.
I don't want people that
cool.
much in my business, but I'll just say I work in higher education.
Yeah, don't tell where you work. They might try to fuck your job up, bro.
Right. Yeah. Out here for I'll say for the University of Maryland system.
Yeah.
And I relocated to Prince George's County, Maryland in 2019. So I've been out here about a year and a half now.
Now that's the middle class, the upper class Black area, right? Prince
Yes.
George County?
Yes. So PG County has about several of the top 10 most affluent Black communities in America currently.
Oh, right on. That's pretty cool. And so, all right, and I think yesterday when we were just having a conversation, I posed the question, what's it been like moving from LA area to the East Coast like that? DC, Maryland area. What's that experience been like for you?
Right, so it's definitely been cold.
Okay. Welcome.
The weather is the first thing, but I mean, once you are able to endure through that, and I've definitely had a few friends that have moved from LA area to like New York and other East Coast places who were able to prepare me for what was going on. It's really an enjoyable time. It's so much Black culture, so much Black, Latin, Afro-Caribbean, African. It's very culture rich, and it also is very politically involved and politically engaged. I've never had so many people have so much opinions about senators and politics and the presidency until I came out here in this area, because where I'm from is basically just the concrete jungle. People just trying to survive and get it day to day. So
yeah. Okay. Sound like so far so good. But let me go back to higher education. Are you a teacher in higher education, or you work in administration?
Yeah, so I work in student records. Okay. My goal is to work in student activities, which is kind of being reimagined right now because of the pandemic. But that's what I'm involved in. I've always been about student involvement. When I was in college, it was, the narrative was it's not a lot of Black people in higher education, specifically not a lot of Black males, you know what I'm saying, who are in higher education that students can feel comfortable with and engaging with, and so on and so forth. So that kind of led me toward getting into that field of higher ed.
So will that entail you pursuing higher education yourself as a master's degree, PhD?
Well, right now I feel like that's probably what I'm going to be leaning towards. I'm not gonna lie, I got my degree as a backup plan. Much like a lot of kids from the streets, I wanted to either play ball or rap. Rapping was kind of the best. it was kind of the option that I led with. But
Mm-hmm.
then as I started getting more involved in academia, I noticed that there was more of a need for someone like me. You know, like there's a thousand rappers out there trying to make it into an industry that isn't really, you know, serving them at this point. But it's not too many people who can represent, you know, intellectual thought or bring guidance and mentorship to young kids that want to open up opportunities for themselves through the vehicle of education.
So, so maybe in the future, you probably be somebody's VP for student affairs eventually, one of these days, as you work
Right,
your way
right,
through
yeah.
students, or at least a
If
very heavy, stern dean of students.
yeah, if we can accept free speech like we should in the world of academia, and it's just not completely obliterated, then yes.
Yeah, well, well, you can see because I want to reference Brother T. Hassan and Dr. Tommy Curry and Dr. Ron O'Neill and those scholars I have on my page and how they talk about uh, their experiences. Even the Hood Scholar, those folks, if you've gotten on their pages, how they talk about the struggle of the black male, the heterosexual masculine black male in academia, and how their voices are sometimes in the past, if not currently, questioned
Right.
in their credentials, their credibility. So I hope that it will be more coming with you as opposed to behind you to help build that fence and make it a little more sturdy for those who actually come behind you. So good luck with that because let me tell you, I worked at a university here. I taught social work classes,
Hmm.
adjunct, and it was at a predominantly white, but it was diverse, but it was diverse in the students, but very white on the faculty and staff. You dig how it
Yeah,
works? They have the Crayola box in the student, but that administration,
yeah. It leans toward a certain, you know.
them, it leads towards
Right.
them. And
Yeah.
so that's why on paper we have diversity. They may have a black dude here or a sister there. They have us sprinkled around strategically to make it look good. But when you get in there, you start seeing it, and then especially when they look at you like, "Oh my God, you're our professor." Oh yeah,
Hmm.
because unless you know that they don't have enough, and not in the social work department at this particular school, it was like me and I think a couple other black males and maybe a sister or two maybe, but everybody else held the higher. So it is definitely needed. And the conversation for me, being a social worker in the community, I hope you'll have more discipline than me as it relates to navigating your way through what's called collegiate politics.
Right.
I'm not very good at that. I think I probably get better. Let's say if I'm going to earn my doctorate or something, I may learn. I don't know because I'm a somewhat a resistant kind of social worker. I'm a street guy. I'm a
Yeah.
community guy, and I'm not. And I'm probably why I never went into corporate America. I'm too busy in the streets trying to make stuff happen, and all this PC, this politically correctness.
Hmm.
I tried, man. I swear. And I would remember some conversations I would have with students, and their mouths would fly open. I'm like, hey, um, and I would say something like, oh my God, man, it's good to hear you say it, but man, be careful because they may escort you off the campus for saying what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
huh? Because the girls run the campus. You know, they
Yeah.
run free, and the guys around there, not only with skinny jeans, but they also, I think their private parts disappeared in the skinny jeans or something. I don't know what's up with these cats. But it's like, look, you make a choice to be a man or be other. Maybe I came from old school. I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, so we were still allowed. We were men. And the
Yes.
boys in school played as boys. In high school, they played as young men. All this suppression of masculinity and suppression of I'm not familiar with. And guess what, Dominic? I'm not even going to try to assimilate into that mindset. I'm not, and it's on purpose. So I'm not because it's BS in my opinion. However, I know a lot of you who want to work in these environments. You're doing what you have to do, and it is possible because I've seen young men uh, navigate their way through it and come out okay. That sound about right?
Yeah, yeah. It definitely just takes a lot of patience, and adaptability.
Yeah, there's the word. I guess I'm old school and hard headed, and you know, I don't think I'd do well if I were to go to these social conferences,
Right.
because look, man, I went to a domestic violence workshop for hours because I taught Baptist intervention program, and those
Hmm.
and appreciated me because I understood equality and domestic violence. But when you're in there and there's women presenting from Minnesota, and it's at a place for crisis center for women, and the main I guess the hosts or the folks who are on there in the form of beta male white guys and flat out gay dudes, and you got sisters and a few of us men in there, and I'm like, okay, heterosexual men, black and white, are not going to fare well this weekend, these 2 days, and we were monsters. We suppressed women's right to be free, and all that. I had to sit through that. On that third day of that 3 day workshop, I'm like, I can't do this shit. And we
Yeah.
just had it out. The last 2 hours of the workshop, they messed around and asked me a question, or somebody volunteered, and boom. I'll just say it was a traumatic experience. And it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've been to a workshop, but I think I'm prepared to go to another. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm,
And we're gonna get into that too.
yeah. And but I want to go straight to your letter, hence why I uh, went so hard in trying to get you here. And I appreciate you showing up. Let me go to my page. I want to read it, and then I want to get your everything on it.
Okay.
Ah, let's see. Boom, boom. Okay. All right. This is the article that everybody that has been shared. I know last time I saw it's 47 times. How many times been shared so far? Really, since you last checked?
It's at 58.
58 and
Yeah.
counting, I'm sure.
Yes.
That was no, that was it was pretty heavy. And you said no matter. Hold on, let me look cool here. Let me put on my eyes here. There you go. Yeah, there you go. It says no matter how logical, how intellectual, or how relevant, I understand that my thoughts and opinions as a heterosexual black man are no longer caps valued in the black community, unless it is to be an apologist for behavior and ideology that I do not and never have subscribed to. With that being said, I'm emotionally and mentally checking out from the black community and checking in with myself as a way to not be vilified, but just being an individual who happens to be a black man. I encourage others to retreat and save yourself the mental exhaustion and disappointment. Then maybe when the dust settles on a proper ethos of black community, black male female relationships, black politics, black economics, and black spiritual order, then we can come back and take a rightful place. But for now, fuck this shit. I'm out of here and don't at me. So you ended up being added. I don't know if I was the first one or the fifth one. I still added you. Kind of like, man, I don't give a damn. I got down like this brother. So okay, we can break it down, or you can just go ahead and explain. Do we need to go line for line, or I just want to hear your spiel, brother?
Okay. Sure. So, man, it took a lot of thought to get to that point. But what really pushed me over was I had a friend, right? And she was a rape victim, and the conversation we had was from my concern for a another friend in the poetry community who had allegations on him about sexual assault, right? So this particular group that I'm in the poetry community was like, okay, well, how can we approach this brother to help him do, what I'm saying, restorative justice, do preventative justice, so on and so forth. And she basically like put me aside and said, at the end of the day, that's none of your business. Why are you worried about that?
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay.
And it had perplexed me because I thought that as someone who is, was a victim of something, she would lead towards, this victim narrative. But she said, listen, at the end of the day, nothing is going to change what happened. What you do is really going to be limited as far as how much that person can heal, right? So she basically was saying, like, we have to be accountable for each other. And what is happening right now during this quarantine is like everyone has to focus on themselves. Like there's no pecking order, there's no hierarchies, there's no social status. Everybody's if they're doing it properly, social distancing, stay at home, work, live life, focus on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like ain't nobody out at the club popping bottles no more, and ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying, doing this or that. And I was like, that challenged me because I'm an older brother. Okay, I'm the oldest in my family. So fixing problems and addressing problems has been a part of my identity forever. So much so that I have not been able to do the self-care and the self-analysis and the self-improvement in order to get me to a point where I could actually help more people. You know what I'm saying? I could only help people based off of the pain and sacrifices and things that I could tolerate.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. The second thing, I've read or I've watched a lot of Jordan Peterson, and I don't know if you're familiar with who Jordan Peterson is, but he is someone who has kind of been accepted in the men going their own way movement because he talks about men taking responsibility. He doesn't believe in identity politics. He believes in free speech, so on and so forth. So he's basically saying, men should be men regardless of this heavy influence of third wave feminism. Okay. Right? So what he said was, because of the reaction that is coming from and I label it as white tyrannical patriarchy. It's not just, you can't just say patriarch. Patriarchy means a structure where the man is the head.
Yes.
That's in religion too. I grew up Baptist. So you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me there has been plenty of successful homes in the Black community that have been patriarchal and non-tyrannical, right? But because you have white tyrannical patriarchy, you have a radicalism against that, and now you are grouping any type of man wanting to have a masculine presence or feel like a man as patriarchy. Yeah. So then that reaction is what Jordan Peterson said, and this is happening in the white community, that men are retreating into video games and pornography. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I mean makes sense, because it's like, okay, well, if you're gonna sit here and tell me I'm, inadequate and oppressive all day, and he used the argument that men are less agreeable than women, right? So the argument is, well, if you're going to tell me to do that all day, then I'll just check out. I'll just play video games all day, or just watch porn and so on and so forth. So, and this is like on the cusp of the millennial generation, right? Because your generation knew what a man was about, did manly things, however that may be, but the ones who ushered in the internet were able to create different realities, like alternate realities that they can escape in. Thus, escapism was created. So that's the second thing. Then the third thing is I got me a dating coach by the name of this guy named Alpha Male Strategies, right? And
Oh, I watched this stuff. I watched this stuff.
yeah.
Like
So a
Kevin
lot,
Samuels, yeah.
a lot of it resonated with me because he didn't come from a point of just men feeling sorry for themselves because women are treating them however, not reject them, so on and so forth. His thing was, the more you improve upon yourself, you'll attract what it is that you want. Laws of attraction. So then I put it all together, right? I was like, okay, well, for what specifically for the Black community, and especially for Black men, if we're not being accepted as heterosexual Black men, and the narrative is being changed, and you're trying to add us to the patriarchy, instead of going towards escapism in things that don't matter, let's just focus on self-improvement and improving ourselves. Then when you got that figured out, however we're supposed to act, however you want us to act, then you can come tell us, and then we'll come back and engage with you.
Okay.
And
So,
that's kind of where that status came from.
well, damn, because what you just explained, uh, I guess it goes, but I guess that can be the foundation or an inspiration. So you're just saying, "Fuck it, I'm out." If I'm not going to appreciate it for the guy that I am, I guess. So when you're checking out, you're saying, guys, save yourselves, pretty much.
Yes.
And you're saying to guys who, pretty much, if this has come your way and you're feeling kind of like, well, damn, what is this? Kind of overwhelmed by this new philosophy, this kind of retreat and go back and regroup.
Yes, it's a regroup and retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Into and now it's a quarantine, so it's a better time. Like, you don't have to worry about losing anything because we're all on the same level playing field. So maybe it's funny because I think of it as like some type of imprisonment, like a free imprisonment, but it's not.
Okay.
It's really just a directed focus upon you, right? Because now you don't have time for distractions, or you don't have time for escapism. And some people use their involvement in the Black community as an escapism from their own problems, right?
Exactly. Pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what? That right there, what you just said, can go into a whole another conversation about the intentions of my so-called pro-Black and conscious
Yeah,
folks out there. If I can say, yeah, the white man's the devil, yeah, they're oppressing us, but at home, damn it, you haven't finished high school really. You don't really make that much money yourself. You can do some self-care on your own, brother, but you have what's called these hidden insecurities. But I can deflect from all of that if I come across as this one who's speaking out against the atrocities that's happening to the Black community.
exactly.
So that is interesting. And let's go back to well, let me ask you this. So during the quarantine, I've often said, look, this is the time. It's not going to happen again. And I don't think while we're still young, while you're still young, and while I'm still middle aged, that we'll have this day off from life. I call it being given a day off from life. We've been given a day off since March 26th. Day off from life. And some of us, if we're lucky, get a little cash, be it the PPE loans or the unemployment benefits or whatever.
Right.
Something to keep us going. And I've often suggested, like, take this time to, in what you're saying, improve yourself. Well, I'll say retreat because you just threw it out there, and regroup, collect yourself, and kind of start over. If it's something educationally, something health wise, you want to gain more weight, lose weight, tone up, become more educated, meaning read some books that you had on the shelf since you're working your 9 to 5 for so long, never got a chance to do that, and take full advantage. And so I want to ask you, based on what you're saying, kind of retreat to I guess take care of yourself. What are some things have you done a la the alpha male strategist to improve? Or do you think there are things that you needed to improve about you to make yourself one feel great for you, but more, I guess, attractive to what's out there now, or is it a particular group of women you that you're after that you may feel you need to make yourself more attractive to? Or there's some things that you've done to improve upon you during this day off from life?
Right. So definitely the first thing is increasing streams of income.
Okay.
You know, the black man has to make himself limitedly competitive because I don't feel that we will ever be able to compete with the white man's money. You know, we need to redefine what the black man's money is and be comfortable with that, because the things that the white man is willing to do for his money is not what we're willing to do. And if
You'd
we're
be
willing to do
surprised.
that, then it's a shame. You know,
Hmm.
it really is a shame. So I've been, investing in stocks. Um, I've been definitely watching a lot of YouTube videos on human behavior, human interaction. You know, because you definitely want to be able to speak with people. I'm not telling people to be a shut-in, but learn what you're compatible with. Learn how to be a better effective speaker, learn how to communicate, learn sales and negotiations, because those are the tools that every man should have in order to get their best quality of life. Okay, I'm all about having a good quality of life and an abundant life.
Yeah.
And for too long, the black man has been sold that they need to just accept what they can get. You know what I'm saying? They
Hmm.
need to survive and not thrive. So that is definitely something that I've been working on, and I want to kind of get other people to be inspired and working on that as well,
So
along, along
anything?
with fitness and health,
Okay.
um, eating the proper food and stuff. We're a little more, I'll say, health conscious in California than other areas because
Oh yeah. If you further, hey, the further you get past that Mason Dixon, you're gonna see some things, son.
yeah, I definitely have been told I eat a lot of rabbit food.
Don't let them pull you away from that, sir. Don't let them pull you away from it. Because these heavy hitters we have down here in Texas,
Mhm.
in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Mississippi,
Yeah,
South Carolina, don't let them, man. Because and that's men and women. We got uh wide backs and beer bellies down here, son.
hmm
So don't fall, don't fall for those jokes. So keep your rabbit food. Keeps you healthier. Keeps your spirit and your mind sharper when you eat right, at least to the best of your ability. It's almost like eating right is a cuss word down here.
right.
And that,
And I also, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I also wanted to,
no, it's about you.
yeah, I also wanted to add your spiritual health. Like one of
Hmm.
my mentors said, mind, body, and spirit. Okay, those
Yes.
are the things that you have to make sure that you're in alignment with. Like I did a fast. I did a 5-day fast from all my vices last week, and I found money like on the next day. Just found money on the ground. Like I was
Oh,
like, hey, that's the universe saying I was being obedient and in alignment.
all right. So I got some spiritual soul searching to do, so I can come up around this thing. I walk daily. I said, "Damn!" I look on the ground. I don't be seeing shit. So I got some reading to do, or some minor hate, some shit to do around here. Uh, but I want to go here. It says, uh, I'm reading your stuff again here. It
Okay.
says, this part here, I want to frame it where you can address it. It says, I'm going to end when it says, no longer valued in the black community unless it is to be an apologist for behavior and ideology that I do not and never have subscribed to. Give me some filler for that particular statement. What do you mean an apologist? I think I have an idea, but what do you mean by being except for it to be an apologist for behaviors that it's not even me?
Right. So basically, just saying, hey, I'm sorry that we all fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the black man's fault,
Uh-huh.
when really, did you make the best decision on what you got yourself into? And I
Don't you
do.
dare victim shame. Don't you dare victim shame.
I'm not shaming. I'm not
Yeah.
shaming anybody. I'm
How
just
dare you put accountability into this? How dare you put accountability into this? Go ahead.
no. Listen. We have to do it. Okay. And I understand where it comes from. It's because the either the father was not in the child's life, and they learn to survive off of sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
So now when they get into the adult world, it's not just, oh, are you can't rebel, you can't manipulate, you can't cry, you can't
Yeah.
do anything. Okay. It's just no. And
Yeah.
that's how the world works. And because you didn't get that lesson when you were younger, it's not the world's fault that you getting that lesson now.
Yes.
You
And so and so I guess what you're alluding to is their recourse is to shame if you don't buy into their manipulation.
right, yes.
That's where
Either
misogyny comes in, sexist and mansplaining. Go ahead.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's either to shame or just sound downright ridiculous.
Yeah.
And what people do when they manipulate is create false realities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a feeling is valid to life experience, but it doesn't necessarily make it reality. You know,
Yeah.
your ideas and how reality and how society works has to be tested,
Yes.
right? It has to be tested, and this is kind of what I was getting at, and we'll probably get into later on in the post. But the habits and the things that work for society are made by society, and then it's up to the individual to say, okay, this is right or this is wrong, or I agree with this or I don't agree with this, and then the consequences will happen how they may. It's women right now who still believe in being stay-at-home wives and domesticating themselves, and now they're called pick-me's.
Yes. They're being shamed for going along with logic and accountability.
What type of ridiculousness is that?
I
You
guess.
know,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and I'm just saying, like, this is something that kind of worked its way backwards from the academia. You know what I'm saying? And all of these studies that um, made identity politics valid, and that's why Jordan Peterson and other people say that identity politics is so dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
because I could say, you know what, I feel oppressed because I wear glasses and the majority of the people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Everything needs to be in bold print so I could be able to read it without my glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It starts sounding a little bit ridiculous at some point. And where do we as society put our foot down and just say, no, that doesn't work. That's not how this works.
Yeah. Let me take it. Let's say we have the civil rights movement, right? We had affirmative action.
Yeah.
Affirmative action was specifically, a la Claude Anderson, specifically drawn out for black people. But all
Hmm.
of a sudden, white women came in. And then you had gays, you had people in wheelchairs, and then you had people who had only one arm, left arm or right arm people. All of a sudden, it got into like it watered down its original purpose. Because
Right.
when I hear identity politics, for me in my head, from being a kid of the 70s, 80s, and turned 21 years old in 1990, uh, it meant racial identity.
Yeah.
But somehow it's come down to, gender was always hovering,
Hmm.
but taking the forefront, and then you have all these groups. LGBT is like 5 different LGBTQP. It's like 7 groups of motherfuckers under one. What I said, well, damn. And
Yeah.
so they all individually get a piece of the civil rights and the affirmative action, to the point that Black folks have been pushed out. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to align in what you were just saying, how ridiculous this, how stretched and watered down identity politics have become. Back in the day, it was very clear. You had Black folks fighting for Black people issues under the guise of civil rights, what have you. Then all of a sudden, other people started creeping in, a la the stretching and the watering down of identity politics. That sound kind of similar to what you were just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's exactly where that stems from.
and here we are today. The millennials have to put up with this foolishness. And can I go back to when I was teaching on that campus and looking at it's almost like deer in the headlights when I was talking to these young men. And I don't know, I think I'm going to admit that I was out of my element. Meaning I wasn't groomed for this that's going on right now, that seems become so natural to today's young adults up to age 35 years old. It's like it's a part of what y'all do. So I'm sure when you get brothers 35 and up talking, like, well, damn, this sounds different from what we used to. I think, and moreover, I think that that is what serves as empowerment for young guys, to hear guys like Alpha Male Strategy, Kevin Samuels, and when those guys were listening to me, like, what? Oh my God, I didn't know we could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that. We can tell them no and say, I don't give a fuck if you mad. Yeah, you can say that. Because to the point now, you're called a sexist and misogynist. I mean, every corner, and guys are afraid to be called those names. I don't give a fuck. I purposely don't give a shit about. I said, yeah, I love a good massage. And number 2, yes, I love a good massage. That's not what I'm talking about. Or yes, I've been called sexy in some circles. Yes, that's not what I'm talking about. Well, anything else, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. And maybe it's just me, and some folks say my ignorance, but it's not. It's me in my own way combating foolishness. And
Yeah.
what those other guys, Coach Greg, and even Rollo Tomasi, you ever heard of him? They referred him as the father of red pill, or not MGTOW, but red pill knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And because I kind of scanned the net to hear what different guys are talking about. Some of it I agree. Quite a bit of it I agree. There's some I don't agree with. I don't agree with the extremities of it. I think, and let's go back to what you said earlier about how people use some movements as a mask for their own insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would warn to any young guy. I know new information, just like getting in the Nation of Islam and finding out a bunch of new information. All of a sudden now everybody's a devil, and everybody who's not in the nation is stupid.
Yeah.
So, and I try to say, well, young guys, this information is for you to take in, but to also process it and have conversations with each other. It's not used as a battering ram for others, against others. And when you first got into this knowledge or this awareness, did you go through that phase of using it as a battering ram for those who are not? You ain't up on this, man. And did you go through that phase, or?
No. So when it comes to how I interact with my community, I made this comparison. Okay. You either have the get like me approach, or you have the take it or leave it approach. Okay. The get like me approach says, hey, I have this new thing that I'm up on. You guys aren't up on it. You can only get that through me. And if not, then you're irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Which as the other approach, to take it or leave it, is this is what it is. This is knowledge. You can apply it to yourself or don't apply it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm more of a take it or leave it person because, like I said, men are more disagreeable, right? So why do something that's going to add additional conflict and additional combativeness with someone that you're trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that comes from, okay, so just a little tidbit. I've gotten involved in something called transactional analysis. Okay. I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it's we have something called the parent ego state, right? And the parent ego state is how we act when we are trying to, I guess, be a parental figure or be like a figure of guidance or influence. So you have critical and you have nurturing. Okay, the critical side, that's that get like me side. The nurturing side is the take it or leave it side. You know, I've had critical parents growing up, so therefore I act more nurturing because I understand how it is to be on the receiving end of that.
Mm.
So when I got this information, it was more so like, okay, this is what it is. You can take it or leave it, but don't say, you can't say I didn't warn you.
Okay, so that would it go into the same in the same vein of, look, you throw that grenade out there and walk out the room as it explodes, or you say, look, you try to do some kind of explanation.
When you say throw the grenade and watch it,
you say, look, this is what we own, blah blah, and you leave the room and let it explode and let them handle it on their own, or do you say you? I guess you're saying I explain it to them, but after I explain it, they don't want it. Well, take it or leave it. That's where you are.
Yeah. That's basically what I'm at with it.
See, I'm about to make you one of the rough dudes out there. Like, no,
but see that, unfortunately, that adds to the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Because the tyrannical white male patriarchy is the tyranny part. You know what I'm saying? It's very tyrannical to tell someone they are inadequate because of information that they don't know. So it brings a trigger. When you get triggered, you get this response that is justified because of, how people feel. So why would I continue involving myself in triggers when I'm trying to get rid of the whole problem in its entirety?
Exactly. Because all my questions, I want them to go in line, but I'm just kind of zigzagging. I think you prepared. You seem to be really mild mannered in how I'm going with it. So I have them written down, but also as you talk, other stuff comes up. And you said something a while back. You said I was the oldest, so I'm the one who's the nurturer. You ever heard of the whole concept of family system of functioning? Hero child, child, and so I guess we alluding to that. You pretty much, and then you said it was a critical upbringing. Could you, before I continue, go into that if you're open to it, go into that quote critical upbringing or that you said you experienced.
Okay, so I had a lot of responsibility placed upon me at a young age. I was the man of the house, latchkey kid.
Yeah.
And that came with a sense of entitlement, but also it came with the sense of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? With a little bit of responsiveness. If something doesn't go right, it was under my watch, and I take it personally because that is not only a reflection of me, but I am the first person who will get the punishment or response or consequence of that. They might get it too, but then at the end of the day, it was like, okay, who was, who was on guard, who was watching when all this went down.
Okay, so with that, understanding what comes with that, so as a teenager, between 9 and 11, 11 and 12, with this kind of levels of anxiety experienced a lot of time on your part?
I mean, it started to phase out as my brother and I went different paths, and we have different fathers. So when I was with my dad, I was the only child, and I was the only person who
Mm-hmm.
who I was responsible with. I kind of like to say I lived a black version of Rich Dad Poor Dad. So,
Okay. How's that?
well, because my dad's he's a workaholic. You know, up we weren't like upper class, but it was like, you know, I'd say working middle class. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, where, you know, my mom and my stepdad, it was like working lower class,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I've seen people put in so many hours and enjoy the fruits of their labor, and then I've also seen people work so many hours and it not be enough.
Yes. And so when
Yeah,
with your dad, things are a little more fruitful.
yeah.
And so, how many of you? How many siblings? How many of y'all in all?
It's three. It's myself, my younger brother who's 3 years younger than me, and then my sister who is 10 years younger than me, who um, unfortunately was born with epilepsy, so she has a learning disability.
So she's pretty. I guess she should be about 22 years old.
Yes, yes, she's 22.
So she's functioning okay in society.
Yeah, staying at home with my parents. You
So
know,
yeah. And did you did, so you kind of looked out for those two when you were growing up,
yeah,
and why parents work.
yeah.
Okay.
And it
And
was, you
so,
know, it was always the election when we went out. Like, you know, you guys are responsible for each other. Um, don't separate. Don't let nothing happen to each other. And it was always, you know, but you were the oldest, so you definitely have to be alert and on guard.
hmm and so, how do you think that has impacted, I guess, your own life? Uh, I guess socially, I guess in the dating world, how you approach life. How did that huge responsibility so young impact your life as you matured and came out here in the real world doing your thing?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, it's made me more compassionate, and maybe more like giving and aware, maybe more of a leader, you know. So it's done it's done a lot of good, and I made sure not to make it do a lot of bad, right? Because some people don't have lives because their whole lives is wrapped up on fixing family problems and so on and so forth. And that's my parents. One good thing that they allow me to do is they let me do what it is that I want, as long as I was able to follow the rules, get good grades, you know, be a good functioning person of society,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with that, I've always had the abundance mindset, like, okay, well, I could do what it is that I want to do, you know, as long as it's legal within reason, and enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm. So it's worked out all right.
It's 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 maybe more of an individual,
Uh
because
huh.
like I can't easily be sold something, or I can't easily be manipulated, because I'm going to take the standpoint of, okay, does this resonate with me or does it not resonate with me? If it doesn't resonate with me, then I'm going to say something about
Mm-hmm.
it. You know, which is why I'm in the position that I'm in now, because what's happening, what's going on is it's not resonating with me, and it's like, well, I definitely can say something about this if I don't like it, like,
Yeah.
and if anybody else doesn't like it, then that's their problem.
So there was a sense of empowerment that was, I guess, instilled upon you early on,
Yeah,
as relates to looking out for yourself, and because life can have some pitfalls for young people and older people, and
definitely.
so I guess what you're saying is that upbringing and all that came with it helped you to kind of bypass a lot of extra, a lot of foolishness that you could have been a young man could have fallen into.
Right.
Okay, well, cool. Uh, what I want to ask is because you alluded on your religious belief, you said I'm Baptist, and as Baptist usually is a Southern thing. So how did it? So is it? I guess. Well, hell, black folks go everywhere. 'Cause it doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter. Because when you hear Baptist, you think of the South a lot.
Hmm.
So did your folks come from the South and move up to California?
Yes. So during the, I think it was the third migration when a lot of people moved from Texas and Louisiana to California. Yeah, was it the third or second? My mind is slipping. I believe it was the third because I think the second one was like Midwest in Chicago, but um, or shall I say during the next migration that wasn't in toward the East Coast, my great grandparents came from Louisiana and Texas to California in the '60s. So
Okay.
with that, they brought kind of those like deep South religious beliefs into the household. More so on my mom's side, not really on my dad's side though.
Okay. And so you still hold on to those beliefs with this new red pill MGTOW thing. And how does the quote religion fit into this new awareness that you've come across, and like I'm assuming in the last few years?
The institution of Christianity has been something that I've had challenges with growing up because I didn't see it as efficient, and I saw it more as the facade um, that it was when it was supposed to be, something that helped the liberation of Black people in its history in the '60s and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So I saw how people got too comfortable um, in that what's the word, in that institution, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just separated myself from that. I mean, I still have very strong Christian beliefs, but just the idea of the church and the what the Black church that's something that we need to reevaluate at this point in time too.
Probably way before now. You see, good stuff. Now you know at one point there was the black churches were looked at as they'll call it a male dominated or male patriarchally led institution, and so all the negatives, and all the things that happen because the men run the church. But you've gone to church, and I remember going to church when I was a little kid. I left the church at 12 years old. I never
Hmm.
went back. They were like, "Well, how come?" I said, "Well, I left the church and I went to the library. In the
Hmm.
library, I learned about who I am, racially, culturally, because the library has some wonderful things in it. It's called books, and it just, man, they're awesome. When you crack open one or two or six or seven or 10 of them and just find out stuff. And so the people look at me cross-eyed because there's only one book out there. That's the Bible, because the Lord wrote it Himself. And then
Right.
that's part of that. Said, "Oh, it's a hymn." So I went through all that shit. And so, do you think now that is even though you see guys on TV being the mega preachers, but you and I know that it's still 85% female attended on the motherboard, hell in the choir, and all of this.
Hmm.
Do you think those charges have been levied against the black church, and as far as being the toxic patriarchy leading it? Do you think that stuff still holds true today? You and I, by us knowing that it's pretty much the money's pretty much held by women, the attendants women, uh, the board women. So you think those are fair charges today?
No, I definitely don't think that is fair or accurate. And people have to ask themselves, what is the divine order that's in the Bible?
Uh-oh.
Who came first? You know, and
You go with that sexism again, that misogyny. Go ahead.
and if you want to challenge that, then maybe can you really call yourself a Christian? Like, can you really, if you're being combative and questioning the order of things, then do you belong in the faith? Like, you can't play both sides. There's a book. by someone called Stu Weber called "The Four Pillars of a Man's Heart," and it talks a lot about this. And he warns about how we were going to get to this level, and we got there because men didn't want to understand the divine roles that they were given by God in the Christian faith, to be a protector, to be a warrior, to be a friend, to be a mentor. You know, those are the things that God assigned Adam. And then when he wasn't on his watch, you know, the serpent persuaded Eve, and then we got kicked out of paradise.
So who's being blamed here?
I don't say that to say that it was Eve's fault. I just say that was Adam's fault. And that is what happens when the man is not on his post.
Oh. Wait a minute now, because see, again, I heard what you said, and I hear guys say this all the time. We know men need to step up and take their rightful place. Men need to do this. So y'all work with me now, because I hear what women saying. We're not stupid. We're not incapable. We're this, that. But doesn't that sound like, look, we need to look out for the women. You know they're too stupid to do things on their own. As soon as we turn our head, they're gonna do some stupid stuff. This almost in today's climate. That's what it sounds like. And so I'm always back and forth. So, okay, are women incapable? Are they stupid? Or are we just some bums who are not on our watch?
Right. So
yeah.
So the masculine is about order and the feminine is about chaos. Right.
Oh, okay.
That is what's in the Asian I guess religious practice of Taoism, the yin and the yang.
Okay.
And it's the balance of two. Okay. So what happens is you get more people people who are dominant in the wrong type of energy. You know what I'm saying? You have men who have more feminine energy, and you have women who have more masculine energy. And that's where we get those issues and those conflicts from.
Okay, so what do you think the foundation or cause of these extra? Some people be a little more crass and say soy boys, and these little kind of rough girls, or the more what do you attribute to that? Not more feminine men or feminine energized men and masculine energized women today. What would you personally attribute that to?
Well, it's more than just the father not being in the child's life. Okay. It's also the upbringing of the child not understanding themselves and who they are and being comfortable with that. Because I'm a firm believer that we are spirits living a human experience, right? And there are just some people, what I'm saying, some women who are going to be tomboys, who are going to be a little bit rough around the edges. There are some men who are going to be a little more domesticated. Okay. But it's about being comfortable in that role and moving with confidence. If you're confident about who you are and what it is that you want to do, you won't ask anybody for anything. You won't say, "Oh, I feel like I need to be more protected," or "I feel like I need to be more this and that," because you know what it takes to live who you are comfortably, how to get resources, how to put yourself in a community that's going to respect you. If you have that balance, if you're in alignment, you don't need to reach out and make these attention grabs to try to fulfill what it is that you feel that you need.
Do you think that purposeful socializing has something to do with it? Or how some folks would say how you raise your boys and how you raise your daughters. Think that there's a kind of a lacking in that department, purposeful socializing each gender to what they're supposed to be in the divine order.
Yeah, I definitely think socializing has something to do with it. And I also think that you need to understand when that socialization is being rejected and challenged, and move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Like if your daughter doesn't want to wear dresses and play with Barbies, then you say, okay, well, you're still a woman.
Yeah.
A man is still going to want you, but maybe you know you get this type of man who's comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying?
You don't get a
Uh,
softer dude.
yeah, which is perfectly fine. Like that is
That's
I
that
don't.
yin and yang balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when it's like
Yeah.
when you're trying to force that, you know what I'm saying, upon someone, then you get that rejection, then you get that rebellion, and we get to
Yeah.
the point that we're in now.
Let's go. Let me take you back to the 70s and 80s again, if I may. There's always been a such thing as tomboys. We used to play football with them,
Yeah.
tackling them, but they understood, and that's why guys like throw it to her, because they understood tackling the grass. She
Mhm.
understood that sometimes some hands all of a sudden got misplaced in the tackle, and she,
Yeah.
she was okay with those rules. She understood because she wanted to play.
Hmm.
So that was just part of it. And then some people call it, oh my God, that's like, isn't that considered rape? It's really ridiculous. And some of those girls, they played softball. Those girls, some of them played basketball. But somehow, man, just like like the Love and Basketball movie, they came out in a girl's dress at prom. And you're like, damn, we didn't know all that was under those jeans. We didn't know all of that. And she like kind of rebels in that attention. It's like, well, damn. And so those, I guess, those were the good old days. But now you're saying, when they're uncomfortable, there were girls who rejected dresses and stuff like that, and perfumes and rubbing lotions on their arms, what they did. But right now, this part of them allegedly rejecting, well, he likes to play with Barbie dolls. He's 4, and so therefore we're going to introduce him to dresses because he finds those to be so pretty. I'm trying to see where because I remember tom girls who didn't like to wear dresses, but at
Hmm.
prom they put on they got their hair done and they put on a girl dress and they had a date, and a lot of them lost their virginity at prom night.
Hmm.
This what people are doing now is nothing unnew, but this is like times 10 and I think some deliberate shit going on. You get what
Yeah.
I'm alluding to here?
Yeah.
The girl princess, the boy princess, and Charisse, let's say actress Charlize Theron, purposely damn near forcing that boy to be a girl. This is totally different when we had tom girls. I'm sorry, tomboys.
Right.
And if any of them came out, they came out in college. Oh Sam, well we kind of figured it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
Yeah. So
go ahead.
um, we have to understand that you know there are you don't make mistakes as far as like who you're birthing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say like, oh, I really wanted a boy, um, but I didn't get one, so I'm going to treat what I have as such.
Right.
Like and you also can't be too liberal to where you don't give the child direction. You know what I'm saying? It's up to
Mhm.
parents to socialize the child. Child socialization happens about age 4. Okay, and if they don't get that, they're going to go into many years of discomfort, and could either turn into a sociopath or a psychopath or one of those personality disorders, which is definitely not what we want.
Mhm.
Okay, so it like I said, I think a lot of things have gotten out of hand, and I don't want to say that we need to be nostalgic about it and do it like the old school way, but we need to do it in a productive way that works, that is attentive to the needs of the individual as far as that goes.
Why in the hell does it seem like we don't respect gender roles anymore? Hence why this stuff is going on. Because for me, it is a blatant disrespect of the natural order of things. As I explained to you, we had nothing is new under the sun. When I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, teenager in junior high school, in college in 89, 90 and beyond, right?
Hmm.
But let me go back when I was a little kid. Again, we had those, and we had, guess what? We had boys who were soft, but that wasn't their identity. It just happened to be soft. Now
Yeah.
we made, now, by the way, I'm gay, and oh, my name is Derek. That wasn't what it was.
Hmm.
Derek just happened to be gay, and it wasn't a big political stance, and nobody made a big issue of it. Right now, I think people goat people into making an issue out of it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I observe, and that's the part that kind of pisses me off. How you're purposely trying to goat people into, you know, objecting or rejecting you, and people just, I think people just normally just live. They see, they're like, oh, okay, that's weird, but let me move on. Nobody's holding up protest signs and all that stuff to say you get out of here. But I think it's come down to what I said just 1 minute and 30 seconds ago. People have totally purposefully disrespected gender roles for a deeper agenda. Change the boys into girls and girls into wildebeest and guys. Just wild bohemians out here. I think
Yeah.
it go into the whole order of things and chaos, that whole theory. But go ahead.
Right. And there's a YouTube video called "The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys."
Oh, about Dr. Joanza Kunjufu?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the man. Go ahead. You got 3 books on that.
Yeah. So I came across that video last year, and I'm going to be honest with everyone. I cried that night that I saw that because it came out in 1987. I was born in 1988.
Okay, I
I
got
saw
from
my
high school. Yeah.
I saw my whole life being portrayed up to the bleak future that was predicted, all in that hour-long video, or an hour in 20, 20-minute video. So I'm like, how did we miss this? Who? Because there was nothing that I could do. I wasn't even born yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I was inserted and came out right into the system that was already made aware.
Yes. Yes. Set up to redirect redirect the paths of young boys, and it's like people knew ahead of time what they wanted in 2020. They put the laws in place, and you start with the propaganda, if you will. Start putting it out there, and people uh, started having conventions and conferences and writing books and articles and getting on these talk shows and getting platforms that can be spread all over. And here we are today. We're having this question like, well, damn, how did we get here? Well, but they wrote about it in the late 70s and 80s that this was coming. It's like we kind of ignored it. Now it's upon us, and we're scratching our heads like, well, damn, what happened? Why the boys act like this? Why so many of them saying forget school? And why so many young women so anti-men? And they know in order for us to continue as a group or as a humanity as a whole, we have to get together and like each other and reproduce. And so there are a lot of hidden hands at play here, I like to say. Some of them not so hidden. And I don't know, I just got your message, and I'm gonna rush along because I think I'm gonna break it down to 2 more questions,
Okay.
and then we'll do it like this. Let's see. Damn. Uh, um, what are your thoughts on I'll throw them both at you. You can answer them both. What are your thoughts on the Black Lives Matter movement? And I mean, yeah, Black Lives Matter movement, and and um, what do you see yourself, or how do you view yourself in this current political climate as a young black man?
Okay. Right. So I'm gonna be honest with you. The Black Lives Matter movement has gone so far away from its original purpose which was to protect. I'll just say protect and um, give justice to the black man,
Yes.
right? Because we saw what happened with George Floyd. Like everybody saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 weeks later, it's like, okay, we have this Breonna Taylor situation.
Yeah.
Why is it that we get more attention from George Floyd than it is Breonna Taylor? And that
Repeat
is
that. Repeat that.
the issue was that, okay, well, it kicked off with the George Floyd.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we have in the Ahmaud Arbery. 2 weeks later,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
we have but this Breonna Taylor situation happened. Now, well, how come when it's a black man, things get started, but when it's a black woman, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just like, well, this is just adding more fuel to the fire. We all need to not be so divisive in this pursuit of justice. And I'll tell you, I didn't want to go to none of the marches. I went to one out here in DC. I stood there. It was a bunch of people wanting to take pictures, selling stuff,
Mm-hmm.
dancing to music, marching around,
Mm-hmm.
and treated me like I wasn't even there. I'm a 6'2" black man, and I didn't get any type of like encouragement, like keep your head up, like none of that. And I'm like, but I thought you guys were out here because of the mistreatment of black people and a black man in America. Why is it 80% white people out here with Black Lives Matter signs on, and not even acknowledging the presence of black people or the black man?
Black men, yeah. Yeah, that you kind of hit it. I think we've all come to that conclusion that we found out George Soros. Well, I found out about them years ago. That's why I didn't even budge a finger to get involved in this foolishness. But and you read their whole 12 principles and understand where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. It's about the erasure of the heterosexual masculine black man, period. And so black women and trans and queer black women can mother in their own space. That's what it says on that. Get rid of the man. Get rid of, boys can be around as long as they're trans and queer. That's pretty much Black Lives Matter. It's very interesting that you brought out. But that's and people are saying, well, you got Black Lives Matter, the slogan, and you have Black Lives Matter, the organization, and whatever else. Look, they're one and the same. How about you erase both of them and just and just start over from scratch? And you're right. This Breonna Taylor thing is pretty much. I mean, I don't know if this is where you're going. George Floyd was murdered right before our eyes. I think Breonna was already.
Yeah, that had already happened.
And it's funny, and it goes to. I put a post up that says, "The black man is today's Jesus Christ. He is crucified in order for others to live, continue to live, and prosper."
Yeah.
And some people got it, some people don't understand. Whatever goes on, other people step on the backs of black men, including black women. Whatever it is they want politically, economically, criminal justice wise, whatever they want to get, child support, family law, whatever it is, black men that is there for everybody's stepping stone or step stool. And my thing is, I don't understand why black men haven't understood that or come together against that. And this George Floyd thing was a clear demonstration of, okay, thank you for doing the heavy lifting. Now we can go ahead and get Breonna Taylor, who has been being protected by a black man. Don't ever mention him. The shootout because somebody broke in the house and he's like, who the fuck is that? They started shooting a pistol and they shot aimlessly and shot the woman while she in her bedroom, and people were like, oh my God. But what about the dude that tried to protect her?
Yeah, I didn't even know about that till you just told me right now.
They shoot out because they came up in the house. He was shooting it. No, they came in. He didn't know. No knock wrong at 2:00 in the morning. And then he came. He's shooting. And they were shooting. It was their fault that she's there. But somehow, it's all about her. Even we witnessing a man being choked. Even the Arizona thing. It's like thank you, black man, but move. We got to get Sandra Bland back in here. we got to get like, come on. It's not the same because we didn't see them get killed. We didn't see that happen. We saw these men. We saw the
Yeah.
brother Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge. We saw him, that cop, pow, pow, just shoot the man. It's like some Oscar Grant shit all over with that Alton Sterling thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're not supposed to remember that. Okay. And let me get your opinion on today's political climate.
So
as a young black man, go ahead.
The political climate right now is completely ignoring the black community. Okay, and I don't care what what color the new Democratic VP candidate is. Okay,
you don't even know.
Yeah. I just saw a post by Ice Cube, and he was talking about the National Democratic Convention, and said that okay, this was cool, but what is the agenda for black people?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dr. Umar Johnson talked about this. I know people have their thoughts about him, but he said that there is a 4-point system that today's political parties need to address. Okay, mass incarceration, police brutality, gentrification, and I think it was access to wealth and healthcare.
Yes.
If those things aren't addressed in the black community, then we don't have any representation in politics.
Why? I'm going to add to this really quickly. Why do you think black men as a group have not come together to put what you just named could be part of an agenda that black men could push? Because all those things that you named disproportionately impact us. So why do you think black men haven't come together to form a political group and make some demands on behalf of black boys and black men? Why do you think there seems to be an unawareness or a straight out reluctancy on the part of black men?
It's because unfortunately we are always in competition with each other.
Okay.
Right. In generationally, economically, physically, as far as being the more attractive potential mate to the females, the black man is always in competition with each other. And then if you think about it, like I said, men are more disagreeable than women. So you're gonna have too many chiefs and not enough Indian type of situation. Now I feel if someone could lead, maybe a like a mentee circle, right? And they kind of group together like that, political standpoint, and then with another more dominant male, you know what I'm saying, and get together with him. But I think gone are the days of, your Black Panther Party type organizations, so on and so forth, because the infiltration is just too easy.
Yeah.
And you know what the one thing, and I mentioned it before, the one thing that will always get the black man to fold. That's white wealth.
What is it?
It's white wealth, because we do not have an established black wealth in America. So there's always something to put over our heads.
Carrot that dangling in his face.
Exactly.
Okay, and I'll say in the last 3 minutes, I want you to touch on nerd, the whole black nerd thing, and why you call yourself that, if you can, and if you want to hint on that Twitter thing you put out there. If you want to, or save that for a later date, that's cool too. If you have enough time to hit those two, then I'll close my pad. I won't come up with any more questions.
Okay.
Hit on the nerd thing, and if you can hit on that article as you walk out the door, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and this has been a great conversation so far. I'm sorry I had to end it, but I have like another meeting that I have to be a part of. So, but this has been a great dialogue, and I thank you for being so receptive and open and very good at conversation. So, it's definitely been a treat. The nerd thing came So I was always a person who had to go his own way, right? I started school early, so I was always an age younger than the current people in my class. And I don't know why, but for some reason, unfortunately, age grouping in elementary and not so much high school, but like middle school and elementary is just it's law, right? So if you're an age of a fifth grader, you be with fifth graders. If you're age of a fourth grader, you gotta be with the fourth graders.
Yes.
So I had a situation where I was not accepted by fifth graders because I was a fourth grader age, but I wasn't accepted by fourth graders because I wasn't fourth grader. Mm-hmm. So I had to be my own best friend, and that kind of made me a little like socially awkward. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to do a lot of things, unfortunately, to get people to like me. So being goofy, so on and so forth, and plus I wore glasses. Family Matters was big. The whole Steve Urkel thing. I was one of the victims of that. So then it got to a point where it's like, okay, like we've gone through this so many times. If you're all just gonna keep calling me a nerd, I'll just call myself that then, because you just been calling that me. You've been calling that to me anyway. So that now you can't say nothing else. I'm a nerd now. So what?
Yeah.
Can you see me for who I am now that I have accepted what you think is supposed to be demeaning and so on and so forth. So we started to see a lot of that happen with the introduction of technology and the internet and stuff, and people shifting their power based off of how much technology that they had at hand. They became more useful, right? Because they were introducing people to that. Like, think how many times you guys out there have been young and had to make a burnt CD, for your, for your family members, for a family gathering or so on and so forth, or put a video game computer program on there so your younger sibling can have something to entertain themselves. So there was some power in that. And, as we were able to share information and as we were able to socialize on the internet, thus became a bigger community for that. So that's where the whole nerd thing comes from. Now, the article that you're talking about, and I guess I can close this. I went viral on Twitter because out of frustration, mind you, I've lived in Los Angeles, born and raised, a place that's very terrible for dating, simply because people always feel like there's something better. Yes. And there's a interview with the neuroscientist and this guy named Patrick Bet-Davis, who is one of my digital mentors, and he talks about dopamine. Yes. So dopamine is like kind of like where dope comes from, but it's a chemical in your brain that gets you addicted to things.
Yeah.
So it's like you're always looking for your next hit. So when it comes to dating, it's like there's so many people who are coming to LA because of the weather, because of Hollywood. It's like you always could meet something that is better than what you currently have. Yes. So what you have right now is good for now, but it's not good enough, right? And you mix that in with the hypergamy that you get from women. It's like the men are never good enough, right?
Well, they're always climbing the ladder trying to get to the top male. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I made a post on Twitter saying that, and I don't feel this way now, but it said a lot of black women don't date me because my idea of spoiling you is teaching you about laws of attraction, 48 laws of power, so on and so forth, instead of buying you wigs and purses. Mm-hmm. And I got so much like flack for that
Yeah.
because it was, the whole like it went into the whole like sexist,
Yeah.
misogynistic type thing.
Yeah.
Really, I was just a frustrated brother because
Yeah.
in the black in the popular black community, we value materialism
Yeah. But
and
it's I'm
in
sorry,
vanity.
but no, but it's interesting. You said, look, I'm not going to buy no damn wigs. I'm not going to buy you all these presents, but let me get to these books that could teach you something. Let's get into how to be healthy eating, listen to this. And those women who responded to you, you know, of course, with the feminist slant, no, you can't tell nobody, or it's like you're trying to, what the hell was I saying? Accusing you of not staying in your lane. They say you need to stay in your lane. And then you're accusing all black women of being materialistic. That was a few of them that I read. And and you saw my response when you gave it to me.
Yeah.
And I responded to it the way it was presented. But I like to think I gave it out there. I like to think I was balanced in it. I understood the context in which you were coming from, but I also looked at how it would be perceived.
Right.
And it goes into what I've always said about cats who say, man, all they want is the dope boys. All they want is the guys who this, that, and the other. I said, well, I'm a believer in if you're attracted to that community, will make yourself more attractive. You have to find the women who want the books or who will do that. And so that that is where I was coming from. And though you said, hey, I'm not like that's not who I am now. That was what, last year when you wrote that?
Um,
In
it was last year, and I want to recognize Mimi I am in the comments. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she's Dominic. You are the bomb or the boom. Continue to be your authentic self. For the sisters are too dumb to see that you're an asset. Then damn them. Sincerely, a supportive black woman. Yeah, and so yeah, man, because that is the best advice I can give any young brother. But I do to people in closing to cats who are labeled as nerds. They like Comic Con and they like all that stuff. And then we'll have to come back again and talk about that whole nerd experience because we're closing up. And I want to. There's a lot of stuff and meet brothers and sisters or brothers who been labeled nerds. I stopped using the word nerd when I got to college, and I learned that the nerds were the ones who would be the ones who I probably interviewing for a job that they created. I learned that in
Right.
that's college is a competition, an academic competition for scholarships and for your future. So that word disappeared. I don't really think I called brothers nerds. I did because that was the thing. I was, that's a nerd white guy right there. It's a nerd, but it wasn't anything vicious. I wasn't about to give you a wedgie or slap your books out of your hand because I knew you had to fix your glasses and shit. I wasn't mean like that. I swear, I'm not just saying
Yeah.
because we all had our own issues. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up by saying, Laon, you if you have anything you want to push your poetry book, where can people pick that up? You say you're a published poet. Is there a book or just articles where we can go and find your stuff?
Right. So the Love Song of D Nerd McDonald is available on my online distributor, lulu.com. You can
Oh,
also buy
okay.
it on amazon.com. If you have Instagram, Nerd Raps, NERDRAPS,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, Dominic Nerd McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
And just in closing, right now, I do understand it's brothers out there who still want to show up for the community, who still want to fight the good fight. I'm saying if that is too exhausting for you, or you are feeling similar to how I feel and how a lot of people who like my posts, then it is okay to just retreat into yourself, work on your self improvement. You know what I'm saying? Get some streams of income going, and then once someone has figured out what we're supposed to be doing, then we can come back and have a conversation. But I'm going to end with this quote. Do you want to go where you're celebrated or tolerated?
Right on. And that's the encouragement. So I thank you, man. We're gonna have to. You and I are gonna have to have another conversation. I want to go deep into the whole nerd thing. I want to go deeper into who you are as a person. in the future, whenever you find a space that you're comfortable with doing that, say, hey, Reed, let's have that conversation, bro. And you know how to reach me, and I want to invite y'all to have the conversation about those two particular topics and whatever else comes from that. Is that cool?
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I appreciate you, man. It's a pleasure to get to know you, and look forward to some more of your stuff on Facebook and elsewhere. You
All
enjoy
right,
you.
peace. Thank you guys for watching.
All right, peace, bro. And y'all, that was my guest, Mr. Dominic, who very enlightening young man. If anybody on here, if you have any comments, we ran out before we can do the questioning, but it's okay. He'll be back one of these days, I swear. But if you like to comment or have a conversation, or you like to share any thoughts on what you just heard, I'm sure he's still on listening. I just put the stream on there where you can come on. I can get you on and we can talk about it if you like to talk about it. Click that link I just put up there on the page if you'd like to share some thoughts on what you just heard, or if you have any questions. I'm sure he's still listening where he can hear you. Thank you. I am says good stuff. And if you'd like to, again, I put the stream on here. If you'd like to click on to discuss. I mean, if you'd like to share your thoughts, you want to come on and let's vibe about it. I got a couple of minutes. How do you go to the? How do you make a donation? You go to it's in the description box on the YouTube channel. All that's on there. So I can let's just do Zoom. Yeah. La 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 la. If anybody like to come on and vibe, cool. I'm open to it. Yep, all of it. Yeah, that's right. Anybody who's on here like to you want to hit that screen? I mean that live stream link. You want to come on and say what's up? If you're still on, and I appreciate those of you who stuck around and listened to the conversation when it finally got started. It's a good dialogue. I appreciate that, young brother. And hope to have others. Guess what, y'all? I'm working on for next week a conservative. I'm working on a conservative, a real live conservative, to come on to talk about him being black, male, and a Trump supporter. Not only a Trump supporter, but he voted for Trump. So next Sunday, that is going to be my guest on Conversations with Rico. And I thank y'all so much. And I guess if there's no one who'd like to join in on the conversation, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. And I thank y'all so much for being a part of it. Hold on a second, y'all. All right, y'all, let me get out of here. All right, so, all right, y'all, y'all be cool. And if there's nobody else, I will go ahead and end it right here. I'll see y'all next time. Maybe next Sunday, the 30th, possibly. I'll let y'all know before the week is out. Peace, y'all.